Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. India scripted a new world record of maximum number of blood donations in a single day on 17th of this month. On the occasion of 72nd birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi under Raktdan Amrit Mahotsav. This was the largest countrywide blood donation drive. Over 90,000 donors donated blood in over 6,000 approved camps. The campaign was aimed at increasing the awareness regarding regular, non-remunerated voluntary blood donation and ensure that blood or its components are available, accessible, affordable and safe. As per 2021 statistics, India's annual requirement of blood is around 1.5 crore units. Union Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat has declared Andaman and Nicobar Islands as the first Swachh Sujal Pradesh. Now, all villages of Andaman and Nicobar Island have been certified as Har Ghar Jal and verified as Open Defecation Free ODF+. Mr. Shekhawat congratulated all the Icelanders for this major achievement and highlighted people participation to complete this journey, stating that now the country is moving towards fulfilling Sampurna Swachhta. The union government is now widely focusing on sanitation and availability of clean and safe drinking water in the last few years. He further stated that now the focus has been shifted to basics like water, toilets and sanitation as more than 110,000 villages become ODF+. Rafael recently released details about a new towed active decoy designed to protect combat aircraft from radar-seeking threats such as semi-active and active homing air-to-surface and surface-to-air missiles. The system is called as XGuard. XGuard lures the attacking missile away from the protected platform by creating an attractive false target signal which diverts the homing missiles from the platform. The smart decoy is designed to defeat advanced tracking techniques including modern monopulse and look-on receiver-only LORO technique. The system is linked to the aircraft's defensive avionics and EW systems through a fiber optic cable, operating over a wide frequency range to counter various types of radars and missiles. The decoy is retrievable and can be deployed several times during a mission. As per the latest media reports, Indian Air Force has decided to equip its frontline air superiority Su-30 MKI fighter jets with XGuard. Indian government CRET has issued a warning against SOA Android Trojan, a new type of malware campaign targeting Indian bank customers through more than 200 mobile apps. The malware hides itself in a fake Android app posing as a famous legitimate ones to deceive users. It captures users' credential when they log in into their net banking apps and access their bank accounts. The lethality of the virus can be gauged from the fact that it can collect keystrokes, steal cookies, intercept multi-factor authentication tokens, take screenshots and record video from a webcam and can perform gestures like screen click, swipe, etc. Using Android Accessibility Service, users should reduce the risk of downloading potentially harmful apps by limiting their download sources to an official app store such as your device manufacturer or operating system app store. They should always revive the app details, number of downloads, user reviews, comments and additional information. One should also verify app permission and grant only those which are relevant context for the app's purpose. The 6th edition of the Japan-India Maritime Exercise 2022 JIMEX 22, hoisted by Indian Navy, concluded in Bay of Bengal with two sides bidding farewell to each other with a customary steam pass today at the Eastern Naval Command, Visakhapatnam. Indian naval ship led by Rear Admiral Sanjay Balla, Flag Officer commanding Eastern Fleet, and Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces ships Izumo and Takanami, led by Rear Admiral Hirata Toshiakui, Commander Escort Flotilla 4, participated in the week-long exercise. JIMEX 22 witnessed some of the most complex exercises undertaken jointly by these two navies. Both sides engaged in advanced level anti-marine warfare weapon firing and air defense exercises. Shipborne helicopters, fighter aircrafts, and submarines also participated in the exercise. Indian Navy and Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force ships replenished each other at the sea under the Agreement of Reciprocal Provisions for Supply and Services (RPSS). The exercise, which marked 10th anniversary of GIMEX since its inception in 2012, consolidated the mutual understanding and interoperability between the two navies. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh visited Cairo this week on a two-day official visit to Egypt. Central Military Zone Commander Major General Tariq Ahmed received Mr. Singh at the Al Maza Air Base in Cairo. During the visit, Mr. Singh held bilateral talks with Ministry of Defense and Defense Production General Mohammad Zaki. The two ministers reviewed the bilateral defense ties, explored new initiatives to intensify military-to-military engagements and focus on deepening cooperation between the defense industries of the two countries, and memorandum of understanding to provide further impetus to enhance defense cooperation between India and Egypt were also signed. Mr. Singh also called on President of Egypt Abdul Fattah al-Sisi. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jai Shankar is on visit to US till 28 September to participate in the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly. During his visit to New York on the first leg of his tour, Dr. Jai Shankar led the Indian delegation to the high-level week at the United Nations General Assembly. The theme of the 77th UNGA is a watershed moment, transformative solutions to interlocking challenges. In keeping with India's strong commitment to reformed multilateralism, the minister will host a ministerial level meeting of the G4, that is India, Brazil, Japan and Germany, as well as participate at the high-level meetings of the L69 group on the reinvigorating multilateralism and achieving comprehensive reform in the United Nations Security Council. The L69 group consists of developing countries from Asia, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean and small island developing states, focused on reforms of the United Nations Security Council. The minister would also be performing and participating in plurilateral meetings of the Quad, IBSA, BRICS and other trilateral formats. These include India, France, Australia, India, France, UAE and India, Indonesia, Australia. He will also have bilateral meetings with the foreign ministers of the G20 and United Nations Security Council member states. He will address the high-level session of the 77th United Nations General Assembly on the 24th September. Dr. Jai Shankar will visit Washington, D.C. from 25th to 28th September for bilateral meetings with the U.S. interlocutors. His program includes discussion with his counterpart Secretary of State Antony Blinken, senior members of the United States administration, US business leaders, and a roundtable focused on science and technology and interaction with the Indian diaspora. His visit would enable a high-level review of the multifaceted bilateral agenda and strengthen cooperation on the regional and global issues to further consolidate the India-US strategic partnership. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goel reached Saudi Arabia on Sunday on two-day visit. The minister held talks with Saudi Arabia's chairman of the Royal Commission of Jubail and Yanbu Khalid Asalem. The Commerce and Industry Minister co-chaired the inaugural meeting of Economic and Investments Committee with Saudi Arabia's Energy Minister Prince Abdul Aziz bin Salman. The two ministers discussed the progress under various joint working groups of the Economics and the Investment Committee. The two countries held discussion on the feasibility of institutionalizing rupee-rial trade and introducing UPI and RuPay cards in Saudi Arabia. Both sides also formulated a plan of action for further strengthening bilateral cooperation in priority areas and projects, including the West Coast Refinery Project and the Trans-Ocean Grid connectivity. They also drafted a plan of action over accelerate progress on the announcement made by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of investment of about $100 billion in India during his visit to the country in February 2019. During his visit, Mr. Goel also met the Saudi Arabia Commerce Minister Dr. Majid bin Abdul Akabasi and held wide range of discussions on the gamut of economic ties between the two countries. Mr. Goel's visit to Saudi Arabia added further impetus to the dynamic and ever growing strategic partnership between the two countries and pave the way for the new areas of cooperation that will further strengthen the commercial and trade ties between them. Massive protests continue in Iran over the death of 22-year-old girl Masha Amini, who was arrested and allegedly beaten by morality police for violating the country's strict hijab regulations. The girl had gone into a coma and later died on Friday. Protests have erupted at multiple locations in Iran after a huge social media outrage. Many Iranian women have posted their videos online in which they can be seen cutting their hair and removing their headscarves. Protesters gathered near the University of Tehran, raising slogans like "Women, Life, Freedom." Several women were seen removing their hijabs in a symbolic protest as they cried "Death to the Tyrant." Iran President Ibrahim Raisi has earlier ordered stricter enforcement of the women's dress code, including wearing of hijab at all times. He also stipulated harsher punishments for the violations of the same. At the same time, in India, there is a case now in Supreme Court to introduce hijab into the educational institutes. Jammu and Kashmir's much-awaited first multiplex opened in public on September 20. With the opening of multiplex designed by the Inox in Srinagar, Kashmiris will get a chance to see the movies on a big screen after more than 3 decades, as the theatre owners downed shutters in the valley amidst threat and attacks by militants in 1989-1990. The scheduled opening of the multiplex comes close on heels of Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Singh inaugurating multi-purpose cinema halls, one each in the twin Pulwama and the Sofian district. The Kashmiri handicrafts of Khatamband and paper mache have been used in the cinema hall, which stand out. The premises will also have food court aimed at promoting local cuisine. The first multiplex in the Kashmir will have 3 movie theatres with a total capacity of 520 seats. Dolby sound system has been installed for better audio. A wild Arctic wolf was successfully cloned for the first time in the world by scientists at a Beijing. After 2 years of painstaking efforts, the Arctic wolf was cloned successfully. The Global Times quoted Beijing-based Sinogene Biotechnology Co's General Manager Mi Jidong as saying, "The wolf named Maya is in good health," according to the company. After nearly 7 months of the war that has killed tens and thousands and left some eastern cities of the Ukraine wastelands, Putin signaled he will annex the region if the people in Russian-controlled areas vote to join Russia. Voting is taking place in the self-styled Donetsk and the Luhansk People Republic, which Putin recognized as independent just before the invasion. The Russian-controlled area of the Kherson and the Zaporizhia region, though Russia recognized Ukraine's post-Soviet borders under the 1994 Budapest Memorandum, Putin considers swathes of eastern and south Ukrainian Russian possessions that were lost due to mistake by Soviet leaders Vladimir Lenin and Nikita Khrushchev. Ukraine says it will never accept Russia's control on any of its territory and will fight until the last Russian soldier is ejected. In a direct nuclear warning to the West, Putin said he would defend Russian territory with all means at his disposal. It is unclear exactly how the votes will work in a war zone when so many people have been displaced. The 4-nation Quad grouping signed the Humanitarian Assistance Disaster Relief Guidelines at the meeting of their foreign ministers at the New York on Friday, a move welcomed by India as an extremely timely. External Affairs Minister S Jai Shankar said that this is a particularly timing meeting because the world is going through a very difficult period. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the meeting is evidence that the Quad is strong and getting stronger. Quad grouping comprises of Japan, India, Australia and United States. The 4 countries had in 2017 given shape to the long-pending proposal of setting up a Quad or the Quadrilateral Coalition to counter China's aggressive behavior in the Indo-Pacific region. 32 countries, including India, have called for an urgent and a comprehensive reforms in the United States Security Council in order to adapt United Nations to contemporary world realities. In a joint statement, the countries said They stand united as a group of pro-reform like-minded states which are determined to work towards a more inclusive, responsive and a participatory international governance architecture. The signatories of the joint statement recognized that the resilient world needs reformed and effective multilateralism to deliver solutions for developmental challenges, poverty, climate change, pandemics, global food security, international conflicts and crises, and international terrorism. The joint statement reiterated that an expansion of the Security Council in both permanent and non permanent categories, as well as reform in its working method, is indispensable in making the United Nations Security Council more representative, legitimate, and effective. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded this week back in history. September 17th, 2011, Occupy Wall Street begins, the 99% rise. On this day, 11 years ago, Occupy Wall Street, an insurrection against corporate rule, began. About 2,000 people protested unnoticed for a week in New York City's Wall Street. But a few cans of pepper spray and an army of citizen journalists changed everything. On October 15th, the designated Day of Rage, impassioned citizens marched into 80 countries. Millions of streets over 60 days protested against pervasive economic inequality. But the rich have continued to get richer even during the global pandemic. September 18th, 2011, anthrax attack on America begins. On this day, 21 years ago, the first anthrax letter were mailed from Trenton, New Jersey. Coming just a week after the September 11 attacks, these anonymous letters laced with anthrax spread panic throughout America. 5 people died from inhaling the deadly bacterium, Bacillus anthracis. The sophisticated attacks were initially blamed on Al-Qaeda, but the FBI, after painstaking investigation, came to a conclusion that shocked the world and still remains shrouded in mystery. September 20, 1933, Annie Besant passes away. On this day, 89 years ago, Annie Besant passed away. A champion of women's rights, Besant moved to India in 1893 after converting to Theosophy. She founded the Central Hindu College and celebrated the splendid past of India through many forums. During World War I, she founded the All India Home Rule League to demand self-government. She became the first woman president of Congress in 1917. She differed with Gandhiji in the approach for freedom struggle. Well, that's all friends for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.